Long before modern science attempted to explain why civilizations rise and fall, ancient societies were already documenting the conditions that led to their own destruction. These records were not written as prophecies in the modern sense, nor were they intended to predict specific dates or events. Instead, they were warnings, carefully preserved observations about what happens when societies ignore balance, justice, restraint, and memory. Across continents and across millennia, ancient texts repeat the same unsettling idea. Civilizations do not collapse by accident. They collapse by pattern. In Mesopotamia, one of the earliest centers of human civilization, scribes recorded the rise and fall of cities long before history had a name. Clay tablets from Sumer and Akkad describe periods of abundance followed by sudden decline, often attributed not to fate, but to human behavior. Kings who overreached, elites who hoarded resources, and societies that ignored ecological limits were said to invite collapse. These writings were not myths, they were administrative records, lamentations, and reflections written by people who had watched their world unravel. The Sumerian king list, often dismissed as symbolic, contains an eerie shift in tone as it progresses. Early reigns stretch impossibly long, suggesting a golden age. Then, suddenly, reigns shorten, chaos appears, and power fragments. Alongside this list are lamentation texts describing cities abandoned, temples destroyed, and populations scattered. These texts do not speak of sudden invasion alone. They speak of internal decay, drought, and loss of social cohesion. To the scribes, collapse was not mysterious. It was earned. In ancient Egypt, a civilization obsessed with order and continuity, warnings were embedded in moral texts rather than historical chronicles. The concept of Ma'at, cosmic balance, was central to Egyptian thought. When Ma'at was upheld, the land prospered. When it was ignored, chaos followed. The admonitions of Ipwer, a text often debated by scholars, describes a society turned upside down. The poor become rich, the rich become poor. Authority collapses, and violence spreads. Whether literal or symbolic, the message is clear. When balance breaks, civilization follows. These were not predictions meant for distant futures. They were mirrors held up to the present. The ancient Egyptians believed that collapse was always close, always possible, and always preventable, if society remembered its principles. Further east, ancient Indian texts describe cycles of time known as yugas. Rather than viewing history as a straight line of progress, these texts describe recurring ages of rise, decay, and renewal. In the later ages, morality declines, truth becomes rare, leaders grow corrupt, and society fractures. These descriptions are not tied to specific empires. They are descriptions of human behavior repeated over time. The implication is unsettling. Civilization is not moving toward perfection, but circling familiar failures. In China, the concept of the mandate of heaven served a similar function. Dynasties were believed to rule only as long as they governed justly. Natural disasters, famine, and unrest were interpreted as signs that the mandate had been lost. Chinese historians meticulously recorded these signs not as superstition, but as cause and effect relationships between governance and collapse. When rulers ignored suffering, the heavens withdrew support. When corruption spread, dynasties fell. What is striking is not the differences between these civilizations, but their agreement. They all believed that collapse followed recognizable stages: inequality, environmental strain, moral decay, loss of trust, and finally, fragmentation. None of these texts describe collapse as sudden or random. Even when destruction came quickly, the conditions had been forming for generations. In the Americas, long before European contact, civilizations such as the Maya recorded their own cycles of rise and decline. Maya inscriptions speak of kings who failed their duties, rituals that lost meaning, and cities abandoned not solely due to invasion, but due to internal pressures and environmental stress. Archaeological evidence supports these accounts. Deforestation, drought, and population strain preceded collapse. The warning was written into stone, yet later generations failed to heed it. What emerges from these ancient records is a deeply uncomfortable truth. The people who built the world's earliest civilizations were not naive. They understood complexity, sustainability, and social balance. They knew that advanced societies were fragile, and they tried to tell future generations exactly how collapse happens. But over time, these warnings were reclassified. What were once lessons became myths. What were once observations became allegories. The practical wisdom was stripped away, leaving behind stories divorced from their original purpose. Modern civilization often assumes it is different, more advanced, more resilient. Yet when ancient texts describe the signs of decline, the parallels are difficult to ignore. Concentration of wealth, environmental disruption, political polarization, loss of shared values, and the erosion of trust appear again and again in the records of fallen societies. The ancient writers did not believe collapse was inevitable. They believed it was conditional. If societies corrected course, decline could be delayed or reversed. But this required memory, an honest reckoning with the past. When civilizations forgot why previous societies fell, they repeated the same mistakes. This may be the most haunting aspect of these texts. They were written not for their own time, but for those who came after. They assumed future readers would exist. They assumed someone would listen. And yet, history suggests that civilizations rarely recognize themselves in warnings until it is too late. Each believes it is unique. Each believes the rules no longer apply. Each discovers too late that human nature has not changed as much as technology has. The ancient world did not predict the future through prophecy. It predicted it through pattern, and those patterns remain intact. The question these texts leave behind is not whether civilizations collapse. History answers that clearly. The question is whether we are capable of recognizing the warning signs while there is still time to respond. Subscribe to this channel for more.